Donald Trump's surrogates seem to be a bit confused about what he would do if he actually became president, from issues like torture to one of the defining issues or policies of his campaign, which is banning Muslims from coming into the country. So Carl Palladino recently said, "I don't think it was ever a ban directed at religion." Seems a bit silly on its face. And then he said this, "Expecting a clear definition is a little bit much in the middle of a presidential campaign." Which is odd, because if we can expect anything from Trump, it's that he's fairly clear about things like this, clear as in simplistic. And so we don't know exactly what it is. Is it about religion? Has he really been clear about it? Well, thankfully, J.R. Jackson has put together a little bit of a mashup of Trump talking about this issue.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
That was a line that he read from the policy. The policy in of itself was an immigration policy.
Do you still believe that Muslims should be banned from entering the country until we can figure out what's going on, as you've said?
We have to be very vigilant. We have to find out exactly what's going on. We have a serious problem. It's a temporary ban. It hasn't been called for yet. Nobody's done it. This is just a suggestion until we find out what's going on.
Mr. Trump is going to be refining his policy, putting out more specific details, which everyone's been asking for, but there has been no change.
No, it was never meant to be. I mean, that's why it was temporary. Sure, I'd back off on it. I'd like to back off as soon as possible.
Well, I don't know if it hurts me or not. I really don't know if it hurts me. I don't care if it hurts me. I'm doing the right thing when I do this. And whether it's Muslim or whether it's something else, I mean, I have to do the right thing.
Do you stand, for example, by the idea of a ban against foreign Muslims coming here?
I do. We have to be vigilant. We have to be strong.
Individuals or Muslims?
Well, it doesn't matter really where you're coming from, except for the fact of the terrorist nations, which is something that he is adding to this policy to make it more clear.
Countries linked to Islamic terrorism will be blocked in terms of immigration.
Great terrorism.
So would a Muslim coming from Scotland or Great Britain, have you tweaked your policy on that? So,
I mean, we have exceptions, and again, it's temporary, and ultimately it's my aim to have it lifted. Now, right now, there is no ban.
Well, as president, I would do probably what I would have been doing for the period of time that I was president. I would be very, very tough on the borders, and I would be not allowing certain people to come into this country.
Again, is the initial ban on Muslims immigrating into the country that cannot be vetted. He still does not want to come into this country.
So what the policy is seems to depend partially on what day you talk to Trump, and then certainly which of his surrogates you talk to, because some say it has nothing to do with religion and he hasn't been clear. Then another one will say, oh, he's been very clear. It's specifically about Muslims and it's going to happen. And he's saying it needs to be lifted. Oh, wait, it doesn't actually exist. It is a little bit confusing while being direct at the same time.
Yeah, and well, no, it's from terrorist nations. Which ones are those? Well, that's totally unclear. But also it's on all Muslims, but it's not, except for it's just not about religion, though. I need you to be clear about it. What is it about? You said Muslims. I don't know if you know this. That is a religion. Okay. But my favorite actually was Palladino's second comment. Presidential campaign is not the time to be clear.
No, what did he say? Expecting that is...
yeah, expecting a clear definition is a little bit much.
It's a little
yeah. Wait. That's too much. Right. So, but that wasn't the only issue. I mean, even something like bringing back waterboarding, something that we've talked about recently, that Trump has talked about. We've covered him. So they talked, Alison Camerota was talking with Sam Clovis about this. Now, Trump has just given a speech talking about bringing back waterboarding. So the campaign co-chair, Sam Clovis, says, I think it is a matter of opinion about whether or not it worked or didn't work, talking about waterboarding. Alison Camerota says, so if Mr. Trump becomes president, he would bring back waterboarding and interrogation techniques. Sam Clovis says, that is not at all what he has ever said. He has not ever said that.
Ever.
I wish this was something that more people would actually think through rather than just making declarative statements out there. Alison Camerota, Trump was the one making the declarative statement about reviving the use of waterboarding on suspected terrorists. Sam Clovis says, that's true.
That is the first time a spokesperson has ever gone on TV and said, I wish my candidate would shut up already. Right. Like, here's what you don't need to make, declarative statements. Your candidate made it. You're like, goddamn right true. He did. Yeah. That's why I'm out here and not him, because we can't get the knucklehead to shut up.
But it's happened with him a lot. I mean, he's the first candidate that it happens with so much.
You gotta love that, though. Like, he's never said that. No, he said it. That's true, he did say that. But anyway, just in case you're wondering if Sam Clovis is being accurate here, another mashup from Jared Jackson, this time about waterboarding.
Well, I would say they should be able to do whatever they have to do. They have to get the information, and I would say they should be able to do whatever they have to do.
Be specific,
now, they won't
if you
do
will.
that because the laws are so liberal over there. They won't do that. Look, I think we have to change our law on the waterboarding thing.
And I said, I'll answer that question. They said, what do you think about waterboarding? I said, I like it a lot, and I don't think it's tough enough.
The waterboarding would be fine, and if they could expand the laws, I would do a lot more than waterboarding.
When you say do whatever they have to do, can you be specific? I mean, what do you mean by that?
Well, I'm not looking for breaking news on your show, but frankly, the waterboarding, if it was up to me, and if we change the laws or have the laws, waterboarding would be fine.
So we can't do waterboarding, which is, it's not the nicest thing, but it's peanuts compared to many alternatives, right? So we can't do waterboarding.
Belgium authorities, Belgian police say he has been talking.
Well, he may be talking, but he'll talk a lot faster with the torture.
You have to fight fire with fire.
Wow. So I don't know why it doesn't bother more of his supporters that they say, he keeps saying we have to be strong and tough and smart. So they ask him, okay, so beyond waterboarding, what would we do? Since you're saying we have to do so much more. And he says, well, waterboarding and maybe something more. The fact, do you believe that he hasn't actually thought about it, or is he just not willing to reveal what sort of particular torture techniques he thinks should not only happen, but should be made legal? That laws should be passed to allow torture. And he refuses, under direct questioning, after advocating for more than a year for torture, what those techniques would actually be.
What everyone forgets in that crowd who cheers when he says, I'm for waterboarding, because all they can think of, because their mind is so simple, that they think of, oh, we're going to inflict some pain on Muslims. That's what I want to do. But a big part of why we don't have torture as a policy is because then that gives the freedom to the people we're fighting against to then also torture our prisoners. So when our soldiers get caught, then they torture them, or they put them in a cage and they light them on fire, whatever the hell they want to do to them. That's why we don't do that stuff. That's why there's Geneva Conventions, and that's why you're supposed to be civilized. Yeah. But if you become just like the people you're fighting, then you're just like the people you're fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and so even if you thought, well, they're going to have no bounds, they're going to do it anyway. Well, so then your argument is we should be like the monsters we're fighting. And we have to fight them because they're monsters, but let's be just as monstrous.
Yeah.
That seems a little self-defeating. And I just have a simpler point. If you're a good Christian out there, you're really cheering on torture? So other than being theoretically unchristian to begin with and deeply immoral and just doesn't it disquiet you a little bit that you're going rah torture? That doesn't bother you at all? But then if you're still not there, I have one last question for you. Do you remember who famously got tortured in Christianity? Oh, right, Jesus Christ.